all
So
those
now
problems
if
that
it goes wrong, you can blame Alex.
exactly, yeah, and that's a great thing because, like, am I all talk or am I willing to do something about this? If you're supporting a certain candidate, whether it's for Congress, governor, when they have a primary opponent and your candidate loses, just the fact that your candidate ran makes their opponent a better candidate.
Yep. That's sad. I mean, you've got Cleveland, Cincinnati, Columbus. You could have talked about the history there. Could have talked about the history of Akron being the rubber capital and all that. Putting men in space.
Right.
Flight. Like, there's so much you could have done. Please, come out with a policy that will ban flock cameras or mandate that you need to have a warrant from a judge, not these FISA judges, a judge that allows you to get access to that. Something. When the Democratic Socialists in Worcester can be right on this, because they are going to go and try and get the renewal of flock cameras
canceled, yeah.
Where are Republicans?
You would be surprised how much support you would get if you actually went hard on a few issues.
Yeah. It'd be
the Dems do it, and it does great for them.
Exactly. You'd bring the independents, the libertarians, the disenfranchised voters out of the woodworks to support you.
Wham! Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Well, someone's excited today. Welcome back, everyone, to episode number 2 of the WHAMCAST. Apologies for being 2 weeks later than we expected. It turns out we were all out of town vacationing and getting sick when we planned to do the second episode, so we are a little bit late, but we are still here. We're still working.
Well, one of us isn't.
No. As you might see, Matt is not exactly here. He's been sick for almost 2 weeks now. He's not doing well. Guys, pray for him. Send him some love. he's
getting through it.
He's having a good old time. Anyways, we'll rush through introductions real quick. First big thing, we've got some new merch out. Check out our website, Editor Me. Show all that stuff right now while I'm talking. Show all that cool stuff. Lots of new stuff. Go check out the Wham store.
And that's at whamohio.com/store.
No, it's not /store.
No?
It's like it's its own link, but you can get there from whamohio.com. We've got some upcoming events here soon. James, you want to run through that super quick?
Yeah, so we've got an Italian night coming up on August 27th with Congressman Michael Rulli. That RSVP link will be up shortly, so you can follow our socials. Just Wham Young Conservatives on X, Facebook, and YouTube to find that link.
Yeah, and that will be guest speaker Michael Rulli, Congressman, future Congressman of half of Wayne County.
Yes.
The more Italian half of Wayne County, apparently. Yeah. It's funny because when they drew the borders, all the Italian restaurants are in his half, and he's the Italian congressman. So it's interesting how that works. It's interesting how that works. He gets the Italian half of the county.
A little deal that went on there.
I don't know, but I'm sure he's happy with that. Another thing coming up, the Ohio Young Republicans Convention is going to be August 14th through 15th. You can get tickets at ohioyrs.com. Definitely some things to talk about there in a few seconds, but before that, some things that we're looking for help with here in WHAM, as well as with our YR chapter. We're looking for someone who can help us manage events on our calendar so we can just make sure we're up to date with that. We've kind of got 3 people working all sorts of scattered jobs right now, and trying to keep up with that calendar is a huge pain. So if anyone's interested in just helping us keep that updated, we would appreciate the help. We're always looking for help with planning candidate events since election season's coming up here soon.
Quick note with that, if you are a candidate and would like to have an event with us, feel free to reach out on the website. There's contact info there. Or just send us a DM through one of our socials.
Yeah, if you fill out any of the forms on the website, I get that immediately. So we'll make sure we stay in contact. Even if you have so far, and appreciate people reaching out through the website.
Yeah.
Real good way to keep in contact with us. Outreach, if you're looking to help us recruit more people, we're always looking for help with that. We'd love to start planning some more outreach centric activities, going and tabling in cool places, like maybe outside of a Walmart, catching all the young people. Anything, I don't know. And it's fun. Tabling's fun. It's the funnest thing you can do.
We should table at a Waffle House. I went
That'd
there
be interesting.
yesterday.
It's mostly a lot of old people, though.
That's all right. They have a firework waffle for the 4th of July. It's a pop rock waffle with whipped cream on it.
Do we need to have Waffle House after this? Man, okay. And fundraising. Some of this stuff ain't cheap. The mostly as it stands, the WHAM budget is my budget. So, anything we can do to help alleviate.
Yeah, help Alex out a little bit. Help him out a little bit.
I don't want the money, but WHAM can certainly use it. So I want to segue into a little bit of a follow-up. Last, I want to say 2 weeks ago, but that was
last episode. Been a little busy.
Last episode, we talked about a lot of stuff going on with Ohio Young Republicans, how we feel about that, the upcoming election next month. Mentioned that a second ago. Some things have happened with that. If you follow the show, you've probably also seen on social media, I recently accepted a position with one of the slates. We'll get into some of that here soon. Regarding that, I had a great sit down with Jacob Sargent. He is running for chairman for YR Excellence. He's one of... Originally, I was kind of worried it was going to be really just that reshuffling, kind of a replacement of some of the current leadership slate.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting down with him, it's very clear he is running things the way he wants to run things. This is the Jacob Sargent slate.
That's good.
He has his own plan for what the state is going to become, and it was very interesting to listen to what he had to say. He really wants to focus on chapters. He really wants to focus on getting young people into the positions that can really help their future career in politics, things like that. He's got a good thing lined up. Part of that is focusing on the chapters and really help building a toolbox and a network and a machine to make sure the chapters have what they need. And that happens to be where I come in. A lot of the things that we talked about last episode about concerns where the organization really doesn't do much with the chapters. They kind of start them up and abandon them. There's no resources. There's no training. There's no help with outreach. I'm going to be in charge of that now.
Let's go.
all those
now
problems
if it goes wrong, you can blame Alex.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's a great thing because, am I all talk or am I willing to do something about this? So I think it's an exciting position to have. So yeah. I will be the, get through elections and stuff. I will be under Jacob Sargent's team, the director of chapter development. My whole goal will to be in charge of solving all those problems that basically we had mentioned out last time.
Yeah.
So I'll get into more details at a future date because there's still a lot of initial planning, a lot of initial coordination. I'll outline kind of the initial, what that's going to look like. It's not just going to be me.
Yeah.
This is a big effort and there's a lot that needs to be done. So this will be a whole team dedicated towards making sure chapters have what they need, have the skills that they need to thrive. And that's going to be in two parts. One will be a field program with people in each OYR region working directly with those chapters. If you're a chapter in OYRs, you're going to have someone that you can directly contact whenever you need help with something, someone who's checking in on you on a regular basis to see how you're doing, see what you need, what help and assistance is required, and just kind of seeing where you're at to kind of determine what they can do for you. The other half of it is going to be a central development team. That's going to be people focused on building up the resources that can help you as a chapter leader, coming up with trainings both for how to run a chapter as well as how to run for office if you're a young person.
That's nice.
So there's going to be a lot coming there, and more details to happen with that. As it stands with the Ohio Young Republicans election, the other slate, Team Ohio, has officially dropped out on social media.
Okay.
They are no longer running for any positions, so really at this time, every race is uncontested. So
yeah,
it's going to go.
It'll be a much easier convention than we were thinking,
right?
In terms
of
just like overall.
The people who know me, I always say I love a contested election.
Yeah,
I love a primary. I love that competition makes someone better.
Correct.
And, I will say, if there was no competition this year, I don't know that people would have been working so hard to really try to build up those promises and that plan for what they want to do for the next 2 years. And I think, competition always helps with that. So,
yeah, I want to make a quick note on that. This is kind of off topic, but a lot of people, when they run in a primary or the voters and their candidate loses, they think it's over, it's done, whatever. But if you run a good enough primary, close enough primary, you're forcing that candidate to make campaign promises and to deliver on that to get those voters. And so we kind of got to get out of the mindset of it's my candidate or die. Let's look at what the issues are that we need.
Right.
And that's with this. We had 2 slates. We were willing to work with either of them to get the issues across. It didn't matter the candidate or the slate or whatever. It was which slate is going to address our issues and the needs we need met the best. And that's where that comes in.
Yeah. And just like you said, if you're supporting a certain candidate, whether it's for Congress, governor, when they have a primary opponent and your candidate loses, just the fact that your candidate ran makes their opponent a better candidate.
Yep.
And that's always going to be the case. So I always say it. I love primaries. I love election competition. And especially in this era where we have so much to fight with the Dems and with the leftists that are trying to run and turn this into a socialist hellhole of a country, strong Republican candidates matter. And I will always believe that comes through primary competition.
Yep.
And there's more we can say about that later. We'll get into a segment about what's going on with Ohio politics, and I think that might be a topic that comes
That'll
back.
definitely tie in. Yeah, for sure.
So that's a bit of a follow up with what's going on with Ohio ARs. I'm excited.
I think everybody at WHAM is excited for you to get that position and to have a bigger voice and a bigger say in the way things go.
Yeah, because ultimately I'm interested in helping the chapters.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of stuff that Ohio Young Republicans can do, especially with working with the state party and with candidates and the state, elections and stuff. I always hold that the biggest responsibility there is to build effective chapters, and so that those chapters end up becoming the political connections in their area.
Yep.
And the state chapter should foster that. So I'm really excited to help out with this, and I'm really hoping that I can make life easier for a lot of chapter leaders. So, and if you're looking to help out with something like that, let me know. Reach out to me on social media. Call or text me if you've got my number. So reach out. We'll be looking for
anybody.
Probably going to be at least a dozen people on the team. That's what we're going to need. So
yeah,
a lot of help there. I want to transition. Some of the reason why we didn't have an episode 2 weeks ago is I was in DC and then James was in DC for, all of the 4th of July stuff was going on. CLS was going on. You can see his nice little CLS shirt.
They gave us nice little Freedom shirts that say his legacy, your voice on the back, and then they gave us Freedom hats.
Yeah.
It was nice.
So I wanted to just talk a minute about kind of my thoughts of being there, and as well as your thoughts of being there too. When I was there, it felt like a different city than some of the previous times I had been there before. It felt cleaner. It felt nicer. It felt like this is my city.
I didn't see a single protester.
I did see a couple.
Okay.
On like the actual 4th of July, there was
Okay.
people like with bullhorns about like Les Wexner and the Epstein files and stuff like that. I'm like, hey,
that's justified.
Yeah, it's true. Like,
but normally, like you've got protests every block, or there's somebody with a political sign.
Yeah,
it didn't feel that way at all. It was very much just like, yay, patriotism.
Yeah, it felt like this is the people's city again. It didn't feel like the leftist hellhole it always normally felt like on previous trips. Going to a couple of the museums and some of the sites and stuff, like it didn't feel like this was a city that had been taken hostage. Like it had been like a conquered city before. It honestly felt like, and it didn't feel like that anymore.
Yeah,
it's just like this city is for all Americans.
Yeah,
and that was cool.
And the National Guard presence.
Yeah,
they're constantly walking around, helping people out with whatever they need, making sure the public's safe. That definitely, I feel like that helped change the mood of the city. And they
were nice people in the National Guard. They were. I will say, I ran into a couple of them. They were absolutely stellar. They were so nice to all the crowds and and everybody.
Yeah.
There was the actual 4th of July. Waiting in line to get in. You can see all the snipers on the roof, and every now and then they just go and wave, and it was like they were so nice. You had the firefighter. It was 100 degrees. It was so hot, but you had the firefighters with a hose, like spraying water in the air to cool people off, and everybody was so excited. And it felt nice to be there for once, because like having been there, in the past over the last couple of years, it just felt like a different city. Like it had been conquered or like held hostage. In terms of the actual 250 celebration, I went there to go check out the All-American State Fair. I was very interested to see how it would go. My hopes, maybe it's just to kind of give a little bit of context. This is something I would say last year. I had a feeling last year that these midterms might be a struggle for us in the GOP. The one way I thought we could try to really get around some of the struggles we might face would be to really focus on the 250 celebration, because it's such an opportunity when everybody's feeling so down and like everything's falling apart here. That reminder of who we are as a country, where we came from, what we can accomplish, and what's still in store for us. Like you can so use that to get that motivation back in the patriotic voters and really get that turnout. So I was really hoping that the All-American State Fair could be something that would really get people excited about the country again. You think about like the old like World's Fair.
Yeah.
From decades ago. Like we haven't done something like that in forever.
I mean, even look at the Iowa State Fair, the Texas State Fair. Like those are pretty good fairs. Like we gotta get back to that.
Yeah. Because there's just something about being with your fellow Americans, celebrating who you are, that really does. It's good for the soul.
Yeah.
It's really good for the soul.
Put politics behind, turn the news off, and just celebrate who we are as a country and what we've gone through to get to the point where we are.
And I will say, personally, the All-American State Fair was a big disappointment. There was nobody there There's a lot of Chinese tourists.
Okay.
Probably a lot of with the recent Supreme Court ruling, probably a lot of fellow American anchor babies. Chinese fellow American infant citizens.
Yeah.
But you go through all the state booths of the different states who were there, and maybe 2 or 3 of them actually got the message of what they needed to do to really present the history, the story of America.
You remember which states those were?
Florida had a great
Okay.
display. I want to say maybe Georgia.
Okay. So shout out to Florida and Georgia for a good state or a good fair presence.
Yeah, maybe Iowa.
Okay.
But a lot of it really felt like this was just the tourism board.
Yeah.
Just giving like, hey, here's you should come visit Ohio.
Well, didn't like Massachusetts have like
Massachusetts did
and
have
suckers?
Massachusetts did fairly well. They
Did
they
they?
had,
Okay.
I think they did. I'm
I
trying
must
to
be
remember.
thinking of another
I'm
state.
trying to remember. That was like 3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
but I mean Ohio, like one wall was just a bunch of pictures of like Jim Tressel and Mike DeWine, and it's like, guys, because I'm like talking with my brother. My brother went down there with me as well, and we're talking. And I'm asking him like, what do you think we're gonna see at the Ohio booth? He's like, all the presidents who were from Ohio, the Wright brothers, all that kind of stuff. And it's like it was none of that. It was just a tourism board, and like here's the government programs that we're doing right now. And it's just like, guys,
That's sad. I mean, you've got Cleveland, Cincinnati, Columbus. You could have talked about the history there. Could have talked about the history of Akron being the rubber capital and all
Right.
that. Putting men in space,
right.
flight. Like, there's so much you could have done. But no.
Yeah, so a lot of the states missed the mark. The whole thing felt very empty. So I did not spend much time there. I literally went through the whole thing in about 2 hours.
Wow.
And then dipped.
Did you see the Ferris wheel? Did you go on the Ferris wheel?
I did not. The
Okay.
line looked long, and it looked
Okay.
really hot up at the top.
That, yeah. Somebody I know while I was there went on the Ferris wheel.
Okay.
It was about a 2-minute ride.
Sure.
They said it was a nice view from the top,
Sure.
just to see all of it, but that was about it,
Yeah. Now, I will say, though, the 4th of July celebration, I think that was technically a separate event. That was not part of the All-American State Fair because that was around the monument. The State Fair was more on the grounds and things like that. Me and my brother, we went to go to try to get into that a little bit later in the day because it's like, well, I mean, based on the State Fair, like there's nobody in town. There's
Yeah.
nobody here. We get off the subway station and the entire city is packed with people, and everybody showed up for the 4th of July celebration. From what I heard, there was about 375,000 people there in the city, which was incredible. I had not seen that many.
insane.
I had not seen that many people in DC since the Tea Party marches,
Wow.
which you can't see it on the camera because it's so short, but I was yay high at the Tea Party marches, and I heard there was like over 1 million people at those.
Wow.
But that felt incredible. Now, it was unfortunate there was some rain, some thunderstorms that ended up having to delay it. I had to leave town early in the morning, so I didn't quite get to stay for the show and the fireworks. I did watch it online. It looked incredible.
It did.
I was there in line during the whole air show, which was so cool. As an aerospace engineer, like that just, oh man, Mike, I love my country, dude. We're so cool to see fighter jets and all the, the stealth bombers flying over. Like, man, that that just excites me. But I was actually 3 people from getting through security
Wow.
when they kicked us all out because they told us to go shelter. So I was like, oh man. So I'd have to go through the whole line again, and it was like it would have been so cool. I mean, it sounds like it was one of the biggest fireworks shows in human history.
Yeah,
or at least close to it.
From what I saw, it was a great show, and like a lot of people, they get like a lot of fireworks and they just kind of do them all. No, it
Yeah.
was like, it was well
Yeah.
designed, well planned out. It wasn't just we're gonna light off a bunch of fireworks.
Yeah.
Like there was a
There was a plan to,
like a plan and a pattern. It was nice.
and they did it for like 45 minutes.
I
I'm
know.
gonna guess because towards the end of the thing, you start to see the lightning on the horizon again.
Yeah.
I would bet you they probably had another 15 minutes
Yeah.
worth of
They
show ready
called
to
it
go,
early.
and they just kind of
Yeah.
we gotta wrap this up, guys.
Yeah. Because
But
what the Washington Monument was struck,
was
I
it?
believe. I don't know for sure. Don't fact check me on that.
Fact check him.
Don't quote me on
Fact
that.
check him.
But I believe it was struck that night. Which I think was So the storm was rolling in again.
Yeah, so I'm good. I would bet you they had more more fireworks they wanted to do. But all in all, that was exciting.
Yeah.
That was really the day that I felt like this isn't just like the people say, like this is America right here in DC right now. You got to be in DC as well
Yes.
the next week for
I went
CLS.
after for CLS, which is Chapter Leadership Summit, hosted by Turning Point USA. It was a pretty good conference. We were at the Gaylord, which was where the White House Correspondents' Dinner was. So that was a fun little
How's
time.
security?
It was actually pretty tight. We got to hear, they had a bunch of different speakers. Got to hear from people like Secretary Pete Hegseth, Secretary Linda McMahon, Rob Schneider, Erica Kirk, of course. I'm trying to think if there were any like other notable speakers. Not that I mean there were others, but none that like, would stick out. We got to go to the Phillies versus not Phillies. Whoa. The Nationals versus the Yankees baseball game. We got some interesting rain delay, but they all had us wear our Freedom shirts and then our hats if we wanted to.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was nice. Anytime National Guard would walk by, the crowd, our group, there were over like 2,000, 3,000 of us.
Mm-hmm.
We would just start chanting USA. Or just like clapping for him.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. I didn't see it with my own eyes, but apparently one of the fans pushed two Turning Point kids down steps.
Oh.
So
DC's not quite fixed yet.
Well, they're probably Yankees fans, so that's a New York problem. But and then some other people were posting on social media about how upset they were, whatever. And the ratios on Twitter were crazy. Getting ratioed by like 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds in high
That's
school.
awesome.
Like, I don't know. It was kind of fun. And then we all got to laugh about it afterwards as people are like freaking out. And we're just like, we're just having fun. We got to see Young Washington.
I still need to see that. I need to go see that. Maybe this afternoon. I might have to do that this afternoon.
It was a good movie. We got to see it at Mount Vernon. They booked out Mount Vernon. We were able to like tour it for 30, 45 minutes. And then we got to see Young Washington there, and then they had fireworks over the Potomac.
Nice.
And so it was a nice evening, good social event. The college kids did something else. They had like a dance party or something. So wasn't as fun. But yeah, one big takeaway from CLS would be please read history books. Please watch people you disagree with or listen to people you disagree with. Don't get stuck in the echo chamber. And yeah, there's a lot of interesting things coming with Turning Point. They promote their men's leadership summit that they're adding. They have a women's leadership summit.
Interesting.
They're adding a men's leadership summit.
Because I know they had like the men's outing and stuff like that, where you go shoot
so
guns
they're
and
making
run four-wheelers.
like a whole thing now.
Okay.
So they'll have a college version, and this info's all on their website sometime in October, and then next summer they're going to have a high school version. Other than that, they kind of gave a promo to AmFest that there's going to be some interesting speakers. it almost made it sound like they might have some liberals come in and have debates.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true. That's kind of the vibe I got, which I think would be neat to see.
I mean, they've done a couple of those in the
Yeah.
past. They had uh Charlie versus Shank Uyghur
Yeah,
on
Cenk Uyghur. Yeah.
what was that, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that.
So I think it'll be neat to see Amfest this year and see CLS in the next years. But yeah, please read a history book. Watch a video on history. Like, understand how government works, please.
Yeah, because you were telling me outside of this that you were there, you were having conversations with some of the fellow students there, and some of them just didn't really feel like they had that
Yes.
understanding. Do you feel like that was more from like the high school students or from like the college students?
Both. I talked more to high school just because
Sure.
of
Well,
like,
sure.
that's who I was hanging out with. So it's definitely there with the high school. With the college kids, it's more of a, they know about certain topics, but then
Sure.
the other topics, they don't know anything, but they act like they know stuff, which we all do.
Right.
I'm not going to sit here.
We're a bunch of cocky young people. That's
Yeah.
kind of in our nature.
I'm not going to sit here and shame people when I do the same thing sometimes. But this is a reminder to myself, but also everybody else. Just make sure you're well informed and you know the facts of an issue rather than just your opinion.
And it's a process too. Like,
Yes.
I remember when I started in Turning Point, I mean, all throughout my youth, I was fairly involved on the periphery of conservative politics, things like that. I got pretty stupid for a little bit, and I started getting back into conservative politics in college because I joined Turning Point, things like that. And I felt like I'm in these rooms, these people are always talking about all these topics and issues, and I had no idea what was going on. But I got there eventually.
Yeah.
You got to dedicate some time towards it. But you learn it over time. And I assume as well some of these are, since it's, chapter leadership summit, some of these are probably newer people, getting
Yes,
into this
there
stuff.
were
And
over 2/3 of the people there started their chapter after 9/10.
oh wow.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That it was 2/3.
So some of that's probably just because they're new at this and they're still learning,
Yeah.
They're in this because they care about it, but it's a process, I'd say to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's fun to learn about who we are as a country, where we come from, and what's going on in the world around us.
Yeah.
So enjoy it, learn it over time, study things, read books. Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good skill to have, especially in this field.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
I want to switch over to another topic. We had been kind of discussing some of this in some of our group chats because it's something that's coming up here. I think it's a bit of an elephant in the room here in Ohio. I want to talk about the overall GOP slate going into the midterms here in Ohio, because I think it started with a lot of strong feelings, a lot of support, a lot of energy. And this year, I just feel like there's not a lot of excitement for who we as a party are bringing to the table for the voters this November, especially when it comes to the governor race, the Senate race, and things like that. If you happen to be listening from out of state, first of all, welcome. I'm glad you're joining us here today. We are currently, this November, we are running for governor Vivek Ramaswamy.
Yes.
His lieutenant governor is
Rob McCauley.
Rob McCauley. He is currently the
Senate president.
The president of the Ohio Senate.
Yes.
And then for our Senate race, we are running John Husted against Sherrod Brown, who refuses to go away from Ohio politics. He's been in it for, it's like almost 47 years, 45 years, something like that.
It's too long. I don't care if you're good at your job. If you've been in politics for 40 years, time for you to move on.
Right.
At least to a different office, time
Well,
for
we
you
got
move
him
on.
to move on for 2 years when we put in Bernie Moreno, but he
Yeah.
thinks he got to come back, and not excited about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that'll be a very, very uphill battle.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough race for both governor and
Sure.
Senate.
Yeah, and I'll mention as well for governor, the Dems are running Amy Acton, who was the doctor responsible for our lockdown policy here in the state.
Yeah, she was our Anthony Fauci.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
I guess maybe, James, you want to run through kind of what you're hearing from people about what they're feeling about the candidates we're putting forward?
Yeah, so we'll start with the governor's race. A lot of people liked Vivek in the beginning. And now there's a lot of...
When I met you, you were a huge Vivek fanboy.
Yeah, I liked Vivek back when he ran for president. And then there was the whole Doge stuff that happened and the Christmas crash out. And then there was talk that he was going to run for or be appointed to the Senate to fill JD's role. And then that kind of fell through. And then it was like, okay, he's running for governor. Great. Let's see what he has. And I think a big thing that really set people to not like him was the party endorsement.
Yeah.
Because the party closed down that primary. At the time, Dave Yost, former Ohio Attorney General, was in the race. And
there's a couple other people eyeballing it as well, like
current
Robert,
lieutenant,
Robert
Jim
Sprague.
Tressel. Well, no, Sprague had dropped out after Vivek announced. Because Sprague dropped out, endorsed Vivek.
That's right. That's
and
right.
is now running for Secretary of State. But that endorsement kind of killed any discussion. As we talked about earlier, primaries build strong candidates. Right. And so for the Ohio Republican Party to go, this is our choice, and not really let the people have a say, I think that's a bad move from the party. I thank the 3 people who voted against that endorsement. I don't think the party should endorse. We've talked about that before in private, in public, whatnot. But then I think stuff kind of healed a little bit over time. And now there's a lot of questions as to what is Vivek's policy on AI data centers? What is Vivek's policy on property taxes? What is his policy on the whole closing down colleges? There's a lot of question marks. And I think it's hard to get those answers because he doesn't flip-flop, but he leaves vague answers.
Sure, so he has that wiggle room to kind of fill whatever is needed when it gets closer.
There's been people that have looked at his statements and Acton's statements on property taxes from the first day he started running for governor till now. It's changed pretty drastically. It's gone from we're getting rid of property taxes to we're going to look at ways to reduce property taxes.
Yeah. I've always thought he seemed more interested in getting rid of income tax.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, hey, that's certainly a benefit. It doesn't help, the senior citizens who are, risking losing their house because appraisals have gotten so high.
So I think that when it comes to Vivek, there's just a lot of stuff that is unanswered, and it doesn't look good when he can't answer questions about what he's enjoys doing in Ohio. Like there was an interview a while back, and maybe he's gotten better. I don't know. I hope he has. And I support him, just for the record. Where he was down in, I think it was southeast Ohio, and they asked him, well, what do you like to do around here? Because he said, I love this area. And he just kind of gave the answer of, oh, I like driving through here. Well, you can't say you like being in the area and you just like to drive through. And then I think he mentioned a park system that wasn't even nearby. It was like 2 or 3 counties north. So there's just a lot of things that come from Vivek that are concerning. A big thing with the whole COVID policy, especially because that's what they're attacking Acton on.
Right.
And I'll say
Justifiably so.
more to Vivek's lieutenant, which I think the party picked. I don't think Vivek necessarily wanted Macaulay. There's definitely been some internal disputes between the two about different things. But I think that Macaulay supported Acton while she was doing what she was doing. There were state senators and state representatives, Jay Edwards, who's on the slate, who were actively trying to restrict Acton's power, stop the mandates, that kind of thing. And Macaulay supported her 100%. And there's even a clip of him saying, I support and trust Acton 100%. So it's kind of like a double talk, like, hey, we're going to be pro-medical freedom, but I'm going to pick the guy that supported Amy Acton. And Vivek's got some questions with his own medical freedom record that need to be answered.
Right, because he was on the Ohio COVID response team, and there were some things he said in there that would certainly give you concerns about the Constitution, about privacy, about your rights as a citizen. He at least talked about ideas such as using his tech company to develop vaccine passports and use
tracking
technology
the people that aren't vaccinated,
and using that to restrict access to places. And so he kind of was around that stuff. So it's like you've got two people, and I'll add a third person, John Husted.
Yeah.
Whenever Amy Acton spoke, who was standing right behind her, the Lieutenant Governor, John Husted. So you've got this Amy Acton, who was the lockdown queen, and that's your best route to go after her on. But the three people you're running against her, well, they were kind of right there with her. Now, in terms of Rob Macaulay, I one thing that I have heard is the state reps are very excited about Rob Macaulay.
Yeah.
Because he does have that experience working with the state house.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a lot that they want to get done for Ohio citizens, and having that direct connection with the governor's office, they're really hopeful about. And I think that is a legitimate positive.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be discussed more. I think if people could understand that, they might be a lot happier about the Rob Macaulay decision. But from what I hear from especially young people is they're not excited about this November and the team we're putting together.
No.
And I'll hear from all sorts of people about Vivek. They don't like that there's a certain percentage of people that just don't like the fact that he's Hindu and doesn't reflect, the Christian values of Ohio.
To that, okay, can I understand where they're coming from? Yes. But at the same time, if you want to live in a country where you have the freedom of religion, you have to accept that people of a different religion are going to run within your party. Now, if you want to make your party a Christian-only party, go ahead and do that. Nick Fuentes is waiting. But, yeah, and I want to say something else with the whole, lockdown stuff and John Husted just standing there, because a lot of people can go, well, Vivek disagreed or John Husted disagreed. He just had to play politics, okay? There's a difference between playing politics and, not losing your job and selling out the health, the education of not just the country, but students. I've definitely seen gaps in my education because of the online learning that I had to do. A lot of the social stuff, like interaction. There's some kids that they just can't do it anymore because of COVID, because they were locked in their house for a year. So if you want to say that selling out to big pharma so that young kids can lose their education, have gaps in their education, lose social skills, if you want to say that's playing politics, I just think that's absurd. I think if John Husted truly disagreed, he should have gone and publicly said, we're a team, but I disagree, and I don't support these actions. that we're taking that are unconstitutional, whatever.
Right.
And if that loses his job, great. I would rather you lose your job and stand up for what you believe in and stand up for these kids and the not the veterans, that were active duty who got dismissed because they wouldn't take the vaccine.
And I don't even think he would have lost his job because technically
No.
Amy Axon works for the governor's office, not the
Correct.
other way around.
Correct.
They don't work for
Exactly.
Acton, you know?
So
Now, Mike DeWine, like, okay, I don't know what he's going to do, but he's not going to
no,
get
he
rid of his
wouldn't
lieutenant
fire
governor,
Houston
you know,
in the middle
one of the
that.
biggest fundraisers in Ohio history.
Yeah, like it's just absurd that there's the argument that, oh, they were playing politics. No, they knew what they were doing, and they're guilty of it.
Yeah.
And I don't get how you come back from that when your whole thing is we're anti-lockdown, pro-medical freedom because of our opponent who is Dr. Lockdown, but at the same time, you're not pro-medical freedom. I don't get how you change that. And another thing is there's more issues that the public cares about that are upcoming.
Right.
We briefly mentioned data centers, property taxes, flock cameras. That's another big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where has any Ohio legislature been vocal on flock cameras? Our friend out of Kentucky, State Representative TJ Roberts.
Shout out TJ.
TJ's amazing. If you ever get the chance to have lunch with TJ, do it. It's worth it. He just introduced a bill in the Kentucky General Assembly to ban flock cameras.
Good.
Yeah, that's needed. We can get into the whole details of flock cameras on another episode, but just a brief thing if you don't know, these are not just security cameras. They're license plate readers that scan your car, scan your person, take pictures of your car, get every single dent, scratch, scrape, license plate, marking that could be used to identify. They basically build a map of where you go. So it tracks when you go to work. So they look like little telephone poles, and they've got cameras on them with a solar panel. So
they also got microphones. They also have Bluetooth detectors.
Because now apparently the argument is, well, we need to be able to hear when gunshots go off. So these have microphones.
And what else are they hearing?
So any conversation you have, they can now hear if you are nearby one. So, I mean, I think that's absurd. And you don't need a warrant to access this. The numbers were ran for Medina County through public records, and there's more that probably hasn't been released. I think over 90% of them were searches, and like searches are not just taking pictures. Searches are when an officer sits down and looks at those images and actually looks for something. Over 90% of those cases were used without a warrant.
And the excuse that's being used to justify the flock cameras is, well, if you're in public, you do not have reasonable expectation of privacy, which the Supreme Court actually just ruled against. Yep. And so, are we going to say something? Are we going to do something?
I think Ohio politicians, especially you look at the maps of where they're bad. Ohio is one of the states that has it the worst.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know Vivek Ramaswamy and Rob McCauley and John Husted are not going to watch this, but if they happen to stumble across it or one of their teams stumbles across it, please come out with a policy that will ban flock cameras or mandate that you need to have a warrant from a judge, not these FISA judges, a judge that allows you to get access to that.
Because one thing that frustrates me is every now and then we get these constitutional litmus tests where it's just like, it's so easy what's constitutional versus not constitutional with an issue. And you'll get some things like this, like with the Patriot Act, like with the COVID lockdown, and with this, where it's like, it's so blatantly unconstitutional. Like it seems obvious. But then we end up backing it. Members of our party back it. Our representatives back it. I went and asked, I was at McFan last weekend, and Max Miller and Mike DeVilla were there, and I asked them both about it. And they basically said, well, I mean, you know, the spying on citizens is kind of already out of the bag, and what do you really want us to do about it? And what can you really do about it? And honestly, it probably is helping some of these bigger cities. And it's like that was the answer we got. And it's like it's so easy of a constitutional question, but as a party, if people aren't going to be excited about the candidates, and from what I hear from people all the time, people are not excited about the candidates.
No, they're not.
The only saving grace you have is to go hard on the policies.
Exactly.
Focus on the policies that the people actually care about. Property taxes, flock cameras, teen takeovers, data centers,
income tax.
Right. If you focus on those policies, I know election integrity has been a big issue for a lot of people, and there's going to be the constitutional amendment to.
I thought that got vetoed.
Did it? When did that happen?
DeWine vetoed it.
Did he really?
I think he did.
Oh
yeah.
My gosh, this guy.
Yeah, I think DeWine vetoed it.
Oh no.
So basically, if you don't know, Ohio General Assembly put together a constitutional amendment that would appear on the November ballot to enshrine voter ID within the Constitution.
And it's not full voter ID.
Correct.
It's just if you show up to an election place.
It should go further, but the start was there, and I'll take it. I can't get 100% of everything that I want. And there was some talk that a lot of it was to make sure that Republicans would show up to vote in November, which I don't think would have done as much as they thought it would.
At least since due to the fact that it wasn't doing much more than what was already in law.
Correct.
Actually didn't do anything more than what was already in law.
But it passed both chambers, and I believe DeWine vetoed it. We'll have to look into that a little bit more. And then if I was wrong...
Yeah, I'll have to check that. I hope you're wrong.
I hope I am too. But if I'm wrong, we'll bring that back up on the next episode. But it's concerning when we're supposed to be the party of the Constitution and conservative. What does conservative mean? I think it's conserving the Constitution, conserving the ideas of the founders.
That's what I always thought.
Okay,
I might be crazy though.
Maybe we are just the crazy
Maybe
ones.
we are.
It might just be us. I don't know. I don't think that flock cameras are. Would the founders have supported the flock cameras? Like if Thomas Jefferson was right there and James Madison was right there,
he'd be like, "Are you stupid?"
You think they would have supported flock cameras? Like
they say that's redcoat behavior.
Yeah. And I get the whole safety argument, and you want to look at the studies that they supposedly help. All those studies have been done by police organizations.
If you read
or
the
themselves.
if you read the Declaration of Independence, one of the biggest gripes that Jefferson listed was the king was inserting spies amongst the crowds to look for crimes and to look for non-loyal citizens and things like that. And this is exactly that.
And here's one thing I want to touch on, and then we'll kind of, wrap this up about the flock cameras.
Yeah.
The argument of I'm not doing anything bad, therefore I don't care if the government searches whatever. If they have access to my phone, if they have access to my video, whatever. Two things. One, that's the same thing as saying, well, I don't say anything to criticize the government, so I don't need free speech. Which I think is a very dangerous path to go down. Second point with that is, though, what if we get a tyrannical government who disagrees with what you're doing, even if it's objectively right? If they disagree with it and they go, well, that's what a bad citizen does, we're going to take away your rights. Because now they have access to everything, because you gave them that. Like, I don't understand, and it's common among high school and college age kids, the younger people,
sure,
but even older generations. Well, I don't do anything bad, so why does it matter? Since when did we become okay with the government spying on us and having access to our info when they don't even have warrants? Like, when did that change?
Yeah, and I get it. Like, does it make crime fighting a lot easier? Yes. Does it make the sheriff's lives a lot easier? Does it make the police departments a lot easier if they're trying to track down human traffickers, which is a big problem in Ohio? And I know that's one thing that they're using it for. But the thing is,
Get more cops.
But the thing is, tyranny is always the easiest way to keep a population secure.
Exactly.
And it's the best way. It's the easiest way until it isn't. It's the way to keep people the safest until it's not. Until it goes so far.
What's the quote Jefferson said about you can't have
the Franklin quote. Yeah.
Franklin.
It's something along the lines of, if you would rather have security over freedom, you deserve neither.
Yes. Which I think was true back then, and it's true 250 years later, and the world we're living in, that we've prioritized security over freedom. And it's time for the GOP to stand up and do something. When the Democratic Socialists in Worcester can be right on this, because they are going to go and try and get the renewal of flock cameras denied.
Canceled, yeah.
Where are Republicans?
I mean, that's like a 90-10 issue.
It is. Like, we want to talk about the Save Acts 80-20, whatever. Flock cameras, it might even be 95%.
Yeah.
Like, it might just be the tech billionaires in the government that wants this. Like, I don't get why the Republicans can't stand up and say, no, this violates the Constitution. And there's some that have. Scott Perry, representative, I forget where he's based out of, but he put forth banning flock cameras federally. There's not much the federal government can do. As we've said, TJ Roberts in Kentucky, but it's time for more people to stand up.
Yeah, but this is one example of, these are things that Republican and independent voters care about.
Yep.
If you want people to vote for you in November, if they're having a tough time trying to swallow the candidates you're presenting them, focus on the issues that they care about. These are the things that will give us the seat back, and we need that, because the Dems that they're running are crazy.
Yeah.
Amy Acton, Sherrod Brown, I do not want to be stuck with him again.
No.
So that's our little message to the GOP. Focus on what we actually care about. Stop doing some nonsense bills that don't matter. Stop doing half measures.
Yep.
Go hard. You would be surprised how much support you would get if you actually went hard on a few issues.
Yeah. It'd be...
The Dems do it, and it does great for them.
Exactly. You'd bring the independents, the libertarians, the disenfranchised voters out of the woodworks to support you if you did things like that.
Exactly.
You know, but again, maybe we're just the crazy ones. I don't know.
Are we crazy on that? Let us know in the comments below.
I need to, maybe we should shut down the podcast, use the budget for the podcast to go get like counseling and medical advice.
Maybe.
So if that's what you'd like to see, footage of our counseling and medical advice, let us know. And we'll kind of wrap this up, and we'll spend the money other places.
Yeah. I mean, hey,
you never know.
The Wham and Sanitarium.
That'd be fun. That'd be a fun place to be.
Oh man, that'd be interesting. It would be something. Anyways, that's going to do it for this show. What are your thoughts? How are you feeling about what the GOP slate this November? What are you feeling about where things are? Are you feeling excited to be an American with this 250 celebration? Are you feeling like maybe we could have put more effort into something like this? So let us know. We'll be back in 2 weeks to bring you another episode of the WHAMCAST.
Make sure to subscribe, and if you forget when 2 weeks is, just turn on the post notifications. There's a little bell you can click, and you'll get a notification when we post, so you don't have to sit there and mark it on your calendar or think about, oh, wait, when was it, this week or which week was it?
Yeah.
So there you go. And then share the video.
Honk the bell, smash the subscribe, and high five the hand guy,
Yeah. I like that. Honk the bell, smash the subscribe, and high five the hand guy.
Yep.
And share with your friends, families, neighbors. If you're working for a political candidate, share. If you'd like to 5-minute segment of it, share it with them. You know, we'd love to have them on the show.
Yeah,
if
soon
they
we want to
wanted
start
to.
bringing some guests on here. Long term, I want this to be the place for young patriots of Ohio to be able to highlight what they're doing. Because I know how it goes. I've been in youth politics in Ohio for a while now. It's tough. It's a thankless job. You never get recognition. I want this to be a place where we can bring you on, and I want people to see the hard work that you're putting in. So
Yeah.
we'll be bringing some more of that in the future. But for now, have a great rest of your day, guys.
Wham.
Wham!